I do think that at the end I just want to pursue my happiness. But I guess I define a boring life as just something that's simple, mundane, quiet, and nothing that drives my emotions up the hill. I just want to constantly create things. Like, that's all I want to do. I genuinely think I just want to do that for the rest of my life. I want to create relationships. I want to create myself. I want to build myself. I just want to, you know, do the very mundane things. No, I made it. I can't complain.
Is my hair okay?
We need to start the video. How am I gonna start the video? Okay, hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Oof, that was bad. You know, we're just gonna go with it. We're gonna go with it. So you guys might be like,
what are we talking about today?
even though the title is just right there, but I'm gonna restate it anyway. Okay. This is how we start off the intro, right? Today we're gonna be talking about why I choose to live the quote-unquote boring life. The reason why I quote the boring life is because I don't really think a boring life is boring, you know? But I feel like this might come off boring to some people. First of all, let's just define what I mean by the boring life. I mean mundane things. Things that me as a child wouldn't really care about. But as I grew older, it's just something that I learned to appreciate. Just like something that makes you happy. And it doesn't have to be anything grand. I kind of associate the boring life with stability. I don't know if this happens to other people, but personally for me, that is attached with it. And you might be like, why do you want stability? The result of a chaotic childhood. Personally, from my experience, when I talk to other people who have experienced, like, you know, a chaotic childhood, they crave stability. And you might, what do you mean by chaotic childhood? It just means like when you grew up, you didn't really have that sort of emotional stability. They might not always be emotionally there for you, and their emotions can change really fast. As a child, you might just don't know what to do. At least my attachment style to kind of just be like one foot in and one foot out the door, which is why I'm also a fearful void. It's always been one of my goals to change into a secure attachment. I've always craved like the simple life. For a very long period of my time as a teen, I've always been like, I just want to follow this path. I want to make everyone happy. I don't want to upset anyone because I'll just cause a lot of chaos. My emotions will run wild and I can't handle that. I don't like taking risk. I don't want to do disappointment. And even if I do take risk, it's with the support of others on this path that I'm taking. Like, oh, people want me to take this risk, I'll take it. It's never for myself. And it's only been like this year where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take some risk for myself. I think life has become a lot easier now that I'm pursuing my own definition of happiness. And my own definition of happiness is just living a very simple life. Could me wanting to live a simple life be due to trauma? Maybe, but my joy, I do realize that comes from the little things. I get to go into an empty coffee shop that's kind of quiet, and I get to get a seat that's like not directly in front of the cashier because that is awkward. Being able to have good company with good friends. We can have a good lunch and we can just talk about things, and then we can maybe plan a hangout again, and we can take cute pictures of each other. Doing grocery shopping where the grocery store is not super busy. I attach my boring life with stability and also quiet. I like the quiet life. I think it's also because I get overstimulated a lot, which is why I don't get up to parties, because a lot of people just makes me anxious, and it's also me not really being able to fit in. Usually I feel like to fit in, it helps when you know more people, right? And I just don't, because I'm always just in my room. I've been in my room for the past 4 days, by the way. Yeah, probably not a good thing. But anyways, and I don't need a big friend group. At least for myself, I just need that one person. Really. I just need that one person who has my back and who's just, I believe in you. I support you. I just need that one person, and I can be so stable. I can be so content with just that one really good friend who's like, oh, I'll travel with you. I'll do stuff with you. I understand you. Maybe this was why people start dating. I get a lot of comments where you guys are like, oh, Via, you're so inspirational. I look up to you. One thing that I think I'm gonna constantly say is the fact that, and this is a mistake I've made too, is to not idolize anyone. I had this phase in high school where I was really into K-pop, and I was like idolizing like these idols. And I think it was just like an unhealthy obsession where I just like put people on a pedestal, and then when people like, you know, they do human things, I get disappointed. But at the end, it's just everyone's human. I am human. I want you guys to view me as a human first. It's not like I'm like, oh my god, don't look up to me. Because I feel like when people look up to people, they almost just view them as someone that's not human. Like they're not allowed to make mistakes, XYZ. And I want to say that I've made mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes when I was a child. I grew up in a pretty traditional household, which is what I think that leads to a lot of my chaotic, you know, emotions. I feel like I lived in this bubble. Everything that was told to me is right, especially as a child, because whatever an adult tells you or whatever your caregiver tells you, because of that environment, it kind of shapes who you are. within that time frame as a kid, and you just like you believe everything that you're being told. I was really not exposed to much besides like that little bubble I was in. I remember as a kid, I remember I was in like 3rd grade. This was like a mistake that I felt pretty bad in. I wasn't really familiar with like adoptive parents because like the only people that I've seen, their kid looks exactly like their parents. That's what I was exposed to. So as a kid, I remember there was this one girl. She was one of the popular girls. I was never popular throughout middle school, elementary school, high school. I remember we were just like doing like rock climbing, and for some reason I just really wanted to become this girl's friend. And for some reason I decided to ask her like, oh, why don't you and your dad look alike? And it was a really insensitive thing to ask, but genuinely I meant no harm, even though it doesn't matter what my intentions were. It's the impact that matters. Her dad didn't look alike, and I was just genuinely wanted to know. She just told on me on the teacher, and I don't remember what happened afterwards, but I do remember that the rest of 3rd grade didn't go so well because, and yeah, maybe I deserved to get told on, but I just genuinely didn't know. I didn't have my first Instagram until like when I was like 14 or 15. This is considered pretty late for people my age because most people have it in like elementary school and everything, and so I wasn't really exposed to much. I remember I had this one conversation when I was like 14ish, I think, or probably younger. I didn't get pronouns because I always thought that, oh, if you're a woman, you use she, her pronouns. People get to choose your pronouns. I didn't understand that concept. I'm like, why do we need to do that? And it was very problematic. And it's also because like as a kid, I didn't understand it because I was not exposed to it. And I think that a lot of my arrogance comes from not being educated, not being exposed to things, which I think is so important that we should constantly be exposed to more things. And I think that because I was exposed to these things later on, it led to a lot of disagreements within that little bubble of mine that I was in. Sometimes have different perspective compared to your relatives, and especially hard, especially in like an Asian household. Family is the most important, but it's especially difficult when they don't see your point of view, and it's hard. So I definitely do think that that is definitely one of the components that lead to like a more chaotic childhood for me. It's a very hard thing to navigate. You never really had experience on like a healthy conflict, a healthy disagreement. I'm really scared of conflicts. I'm scared of disagreements. So when that happens, I tend to just leave because I just feel like it wouldn't get better, which is something that I still need to fix. So even if I do want more things, it needs to be within my morals. I think that people shouldn't shame others for having smaller goals or just having simple goals, you know, because I feel like it's like really much the simple things that brings me a lot of joy. I feel like life is just a very mundane thing, finding joy in that, and sometimes it just makes me really happy. When people say like, what's your dream in life? I don't know what to say. I do think that at the end, I just want to pursue my happiness. I've always been like, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. When I say that, my actions don't match up with my words, because at that moment, what I was pursuing at that time, I was not pursuing something that made me happy. It made other people happy. Am I in a very uncertain position right now because I'm pursuing my happiness in some way? Yeah, I am. I am anxious. I am uncertain with everything around me at this moment, but I'm still feel very true to myself. I feel like I'm being truthful to myself now because I am coming to the conclusion that I come first. I live once. If I disappoint other people, I disappoint other people because this is my life and I'm gonna do what makes me happy. I am responsible for the consequences. I feel like I am being honest with myself and I am being truthful to my younger self. When you're younger, you just have so much goals. And now it's like, I don't know what I want. There's so much to life that I don't know what I want. I just want to create. I just want to constantly create things. Like that's all I want to do. I genuinely think I just want to do that for the rest of my life. I want to create things. I want to paint. I want to film. I want to perhaps even make clothes. I want to create my own jewelry. I think I'll be good at that. I think I'll be good at that if I made my own jewelry. I want to build my own bouquet. I want to design my own room, make my own room. I want to make my own clothes. I want to create relationships. I want to create myself. I want to build myself. I just want to, you know, do the very mundane things. Maybe sit outside and paint, take sewing classes. So maybe when I keep saying this, it might not be the boring life anymore. This might not be the boring life to some. But I guess I define a boring life as just something that's simple, mundane, quiet, and nothing that drives my emotions up the hill. Just something that just can keep my emotions intact. And I think that this is something that might change in the future. Who knows? It's a blend of right now between pursuing my own happiness and also healing from a lot of my trauma. This is my healing diaries, episode 1, why I want to live the boring life, the result of a chaotic childhood. And I know that some of you guys may be like, oh, this is a new series. How is this different from journal entries? But from now on, I want to differentiate more clearly between the healing diaries and the journal entries. I think that for my journal entries, I want to focus more on advice giving. A lot of my journal entries has just been focused on like topics I'm giving advice on. Like, of course, like everything at the end connects to myself. But I think with my healing diaries, it's going to be more on more sensitive topics that I'm still healing from. And that's not to say like my topics on journal entries are not something I'm healing from. I think it's depending on how I talk about it. I think the driving differentiation between the two is also myself. The line is a little bit blurred, but I think what I'm going to be the one making that distinction. Maybe there'll be a stronger differentiation as time goes on, but as of right now, this is the differentiation that I want to make. But yeah, I feel like a lot of topics I touched on today, it's a lot of things I don't usually talk about. And I would also hope you guys would respect me on not making assumptions on certain things I talked about. Yeah, because these are more sensitive topics to me, and I hope you guys would be respectful of that as well. And I hope you guys enjoyed this first episode of the Healing Diaries, and I will see you guys all next week. I hope you guys are having a lovely week, lovely morning, lovely afternoon or night. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye!